So we're gonna make this presentation in English as we have prepared it, but maybe we can switch it to Spanish at some point. Good afternoon to everyone and thanks for being here. We are Siglali and Nuria, and we come in representation of a group of 10 people, if we can see the picture. They are represented by us, who lately have been working on vital devices, a concept that we will explain later in this presentation. This group is mainly coordinated by the research of 4 members working in the main project of Actuar and emergencia. We are Silvia Bernal, Georgia Scavo, Siglali, and myself. One of the important things for us, which concerns our main occupation in arts and design, was to approach this research to a practical artistic application, to expand possibilities of thought through an experimental laboratory where to find new answers to our concerns. This leads us to the Laboratorio de Dispositivos Virales, Viral Devices Laboratory, which we will see in a few minutes.
Okay, so to explain a little bit the framework of the research, as Nuria said before, we are looking to create a research from an exploratory intention directed by creative, situated, and collective actions. We mainly started to ask ourselves how to identify the transformations of the body space assembly and the online-offline spheres as a result of the pandemic. What happened with our relationship with devices, other bodies, other spaces. So the project was born with this main concern, as we believe that the conditions produced in this context have created a particular relationship between domestic space, digital devices, and platforms, bodies, and society. This complex amalgam of relationships produce hybrid subjectivities that, although we have been developing since the emergence of the internet and our historic adaptation to the online digital dimension, these hybrid subjectivities have been transformed when bodies were contained in the domestic space, when times came when the option was only to be online, and when almost everything was happening through the screens, and when the accelerated digitalization of life itself appeared as a solution to the problems and risks posed by the physical contact of the pandemics with the virus. The process of production and materialization of these hybrid subjectivities were accelerated as a part of a biopolitical order that are, at the time, tried to address the different magnitudes of the impact of the virus. So as a group, we have been approaching to this term that I mentioned before, the hybrid subjectivities, and we understand this concept as a constitutive relationship between the physical and the digital, between perceptions, presentations, representations of the self online, expressivity in the territory of the digital, and in the different formats of being present from the domestic exposed network space. Sorry if I talk too quick. We understand then that the hybrid subjectivity is in constant negotiation between a physical associated medium and an online digital associated medium, both with specific scales, times, and space. This is very important to understand. Our mediums have different characteristics. In this context, we observe the domestic space as a changing matter. Each element of the physical space in it plays its role differently. The spaces multiply as they are experimented online. The experience can be virtual, and yet it can also be the experience of another physical space and have an impact on these spaces. We observe as a group the situation of telework as a solution to the biopolitical order, as well as other activities that move to the online digital formats. Here plays a crucial role the hegemonic discourses of productivity and of staying a continuous mechanism of rest and work. In the online-offline assembly from COVID, this discourse permeates insistently, and it is reflected in the ratification of life itself, for example. And thus, the research we present today contains all of these concepts that I've mentioned, and it contains the permanent questions about the notion of the body as a subjectivity and corporeality, as well as its constitutive link with online domestic spaces. Our research contrasts the objectivity validated by big data, hardware, and concrete computer and social software and we propose to pay attention to the agency of wetwares, the bodies. Through this research, we have experienced collective actions proposing to observe small details in space and gesture, which are both inevitably part of a large socio-technical assembly.
We assume that we are online living creatures nowadays, and by this we mean we cannot stop to produce some kind of data when we are living in the digital connected to the internet world. Our traces, our ghosts, and our diamonds are collected through our paths, although our representation in global data analytics will not reflect our self-being. It may approach to a general concept of someone who is about our age, has our interests, our occupation, and our banking accounts, but it will surely not be sincere toward ourselves. We like to think about the question proposed by Olga Gorinova. What is the distance that separates our digital subject from our being? This question that have been addressed by Citlali and myself during these last 2 years through the performative medium opened more and more challenges in this research. One of the challenges that our research group wanted to take in this investigation was to think about a diverse and non-generalistic group to help the practical investigation of the laboratories. We are seeking for subjectivities and corporealities, as said by Citlali, concepts totally opposed to big data. We wanted to achieve a situated, located, and individualized experience held by a group of people, and we happily found this 10 person who conform an heterogeneous group totally opposed to the concept of the matrix domination held by Patricia Hill Collins, and therefore we were taking similarities with the design justice practice described by Santiago Constanza Choc. In words of Constanza Choc, design justice urges us to consider how design, we mean objects and environments, services, systems and processes, distributes both penalty and privilege to individuals based on their location within the matrix of domination, and attend to the ways that this operates at various scales. We would like to think that the open and diverse group we configured altogether with a focus on the self-experience and self-narratives are contributing to think about period-sensitive design, about self-governed design, and about the questioning of the codes related to our living spaces on the internet. To achieve this artistic approach to the research, we've been centered by a creative and collective vision to create sensorial and sensitive lived experience during intimate face-to-face with the internet diverse situations. In order to arrive to the proposals, we designed a laboratory called Laboratorio de Dispositivos Virales, Viral Devices Laboratory. And here you can see the process of the whole proposal. Internally, the core group of 4 people started our research in the commented fields, and after that we went through the design of the laboratory. This laboratory was thought to be open to anyone interested in being part of our research, and therefore also interested in any of the focus which are important for us. We announced this participatory, open, flexible, and free access laboratory among ear-to-ear contact with our students, colleagues, and acquaintances, and we distributed the information and announcement through the communication channels of ACAR, the Visual Arts Center where Citlali and I were artists in residence, and where the laboratory sessions have been taking place. We assume that although new people arrive to experiment with us, the place where the laboratory is held and our center, and the people in our circles, and although there is a lot of diversity in the group, the similarities between us, the participants, are obvious. It is possible that some algorithm in big data system define us as the same person. This non-100% real diversity is one of our concerns, and this leads us to the next step, the viral devices we designed. We formed the open group of approximately 10 people to think about the design of what we call viral devices. The viral devices are inspired in the domestic probes, concretely in the terms of Werner, Graeber, and Bush in 2021, where they define probes as objects for observing situated and fragmented knowledge which allow to play, to explore and to enjoy, and so carry a constant uncertainty and risk as a state for exploration, which equals the person to the designer and the user, which stimulates new ways of thinking, resists generalization, conforms subjective truths, and it is open to the unexpected. Therefore, seeks to open new possibilities and scenarios. That was our point. So we agreed also to change the term object to device in order to relate it to internet-connected systems or experiences, and to think about them in mediations with different electronic and telematic internet-connected situations. As Agamben described devices as nets, structures, and relations, this focus on the object of the medium, the device, lets us to think about the power relations between each agent. Also, as said by Foucault, the device is not abstract, as a net of relations of knowledge and power. The emergency of the device responds to an event which has caused its apparition. This is important for us because each parent device has not only to allow a person to have a more conscious experience while connected to the internet, but also rethink about the devices and their agencies, the codes, and how our bodies react and interact with them. The viral fact, the viral concept, it is important in relation to the obvious reference to the spread of the COVID-19, but also to be able to arrive to different people as the devices will be distributed to be experienced in the next phase. So finally, what we wanted to explore with these devices we create was the proxemics with the focus on digital proxemic, the social distance and digital social distance, spaces mediated by a screen, the attention in the online experience, the time perception in contrast in offline and online, the domestic space as a center of production, the connected bodies through gestures, perception, and sensitivities, and therefore the hybrid subjectivities.
So, we arrived to this stage of the research, the laboratory, and if I could stop in my English, I would change to Spanish. These, what you see here, are the phases or the stages of the laboratory. Before we saw the stages of the research, this is only of the laboratory, which is the central part. So with the group we started making this first step, which was researching and gathering information together. Also listening actively to our group, to our main concerns, our common concerns, experiences, and we started to see common things, and we started to define the main common of interest. Then we started to make group proposals as we defined these concepts. We said, okay, we have some concepts that we have in common. Why don't we start thinking about some ideas of how our devices could be? Then we started the third part, the third stage, which was making prototypes, experimenting with materials, materializing, testing, etc., etc. And this is the phase that we are still doing now. We are finishing it. We are testing the devices that you will later see. And the next step that we are hopefully doing this October is to activate and viralize these devices. And the next year we will analyze all the information gathered by the devices and make a public and accessible archive, and then later we will explain Nuria, and looking also to make an exhibition of these traces. As Nuria said before, all the participation call was supported by ANGAR in their website, and we made the laboratory in this space, in the art residency where we work. And these are the names of all the people that are actively working or are participating in the project. As you can see, we are almost all artists and designers, architects, all concerned by the main issue of the body and the space. And we all shared and listened our experiences. So these are some pictures about the first sessions when we were talking, understanding what we were thinking about pandemics. As you can see, we're having the masks on our faces.
This was 2020?
No, this was 2021. main concerns there. And for example, the topic time was present all the time, community and unity. And there was this phase of, okay, we have a lot of information, let's define the axis that we're going to attack. So we created this collaborative group, online group using Discord. Discord was our main channel of communication. And this Discord, if you go online one day, you will see that it is very chaotic. We have a lot of information, but because every day people went to the Discord channel now, I don't know, shared the news, artistic project, some thoughts, information. So it has a lot of information that is now an archive now for ourselves. But this was like an ongoing tool to use. This, for example, is a picture of one of the sessions where we decided the concepts. And we decided that each concept would be attacked or would be worked with a group. For example, you can see, for example, at the beginning, it says errors and limits. Georgia, Jana, Angel, you're going to work with errors and limits. This was a very nice idea at the beginning, but we understood that working with one concept was like impossible. All of the ideas that were happening through us and all the prototypes ideas that we have couldn't attend only to one concept. We had to attend a lot of concepts. So these are the main concepts that were developed in the group. Time, materiality, limits and errors, glitches, immunity, community, attention. And so we started to prototype, experiment. We worked with thermochromic paint, clay. We use our hands to think. So finally, we presented the viral devices that now we can see, and they are. We developed 5 of them. They are still prototypes. We are prototyping and testing. We're testing them in this internal group that we have. So there you have next. Sorry. It is important to say that when we decided that we're going to have these 5 objects, we decided these constraints. No? Each device should look for an offline activity, normalize since a lockdown, work with hybrid materialities. It means that these objects could be physical or digital, online or whatever mixed. Each device should create experiences that open questions and awareness. Each device should create and leave an accessible trace. This is very, very important. Each device should have a time and use and have clear instructions to use. And of course, very important, to be viral. This means that each of the objects could be used by one person, and then at the end, give this object to another person. And this person can give the object to another person. So you're looking to this trace. Okay.
So this is the first device that we're going to explain. I hope this gets more fun. The name Confunda is a device tool for our smartphones. The device works from the destabilization of its use. It's create an experience based on missing the automatic gesture of being permanently connected, and makes the person who uses it conscious about the use of the smartphone due to the heaviness and the uncomfortable use of the device. According to several studies, people use their smartphone about 5 hours per day, and one of the main concerns to bring Confunda out is attention. How many connections we make almost unconsciously, just moved by a sense of automatization. The gesture of taking the phone into our hands is now not transparent. It is totally evident and requires our attention. And the schemes of aesthetics and feelings contained in the gestures make us think about the gesture phenomenology used also by Frozen. These are some of the pictures of the testing and the first materials we used.
What is it made of? What is the material?
Clay.
Clay.
Yes.
Yes, it's made by clay. The idea after using it is to write on the clay as when we were child, and people write us in the clay when you broke something. So kind of when this destabilization happens, you have to write these trace of the moment, why this was too heavy for you to carry on to a meeting with your friends, or why did you find out that you were going to take Instagram without any notification, and so yeah, now we were going to see another one. This is internal capture, captura interna. Captura interna is the device that proposes the visualization of an offline context just before being online in a video call. Through an audio capture of the environment where the subject is going to participate in a video call, and through responding to some simple questions and making an audio about the state of being at the present moment, we intend to situate the online experience in a space that transcends the visual. Although it's a simple exercise to do, it can be interesting to tackle differences about sound in the online and the offline, and the capacity of sound to create online new and different spatialities. Also, the personal narration about the moment before connecting to a video call, where questions like, how does the space you've chosen for the video call look like, or what will we not able to see through your voice, and why did you choose this concrete space also, could make appear some personal circumstances, always transparent in the formal common video call.
Okay, the third one is called Offstage. And Offstage started because we were thinking about all of the images that are visible, not visible when you are in a video call or in an online activity. So, I don't know if it was clear, but all of the devices have a list of instructions that you have to follow. An Offstage device, for example, asks you to make a screenshot of your online activity. It doesn't have to be a work activity, it could be another activity that can change when the pandemic started. For example, this image is from Georgia, one of the research members of the group, and she uses continuously Zoom platform to make yoga classes. So this is one of her screenshots, and the idea is to eliminate the body, to of course respect the image of the people that is participating somehow in this research. So the offstage talks about the space, not both spaces, the digital one that you're participating in, and the physical one that you have. So one of the instructions is to make a panoramic picture of the space that can be seen with your video call. And another test that we are still making is one is to make a panoramic picture, and the other is that if you have the possibility and you have an Android, or I don't know, we're still making a test about this, is that you can make a 3D scan of the space that you are. So maybe we could have this archive of 3D spaces that were in some moment used to make, for example, a yoga class online. The next one is called GREDITS, and we like a lot, of course, all of the devices. GREDITS is a reflection about how our body moves when we are digitalizing information of our body, or that is produced by our bodies. So GREDITS is an adaptation to a mouse. So what it makes is it leaves a physical trace of all the movements that you are making during a video call or an activity made online. We found that there were, of course, we could make this digital, but we were very interested in making this trace physical, as we are talking about this constant digitalization of our lives. So these are some pictures about the tests we were making, using different pens, different papers, different annotations. And we've discovered, for example, that if we use some specific pens, you can see how many times or when you have stopped using your hands. So for example, if you see these big spots of paint, it's because the mouse was left there and you were making something else with your hands. And the last one is called Camera Corpo, which looks for observe parts of the body while connected to an online activity. This is still in progress, but what we are looking for is only to see parts of the body, not the complete body, but only to focus on gesture of some parts of the body. In this case, for example, we put the camera above my hands in a video call, where it could be put below the table and observe how you move your feet or observe how you move your head. This can be chosen by the user that's going to have this object with them. So these are some pictures about one of the tests we made during a long video call with a lot of people. And okay, so this was the 5 viral devices. And one part of the work that we're making is to put somewhere all of this work. No? So we developed this work, it's still in progress, but we created this website that you can visit now, although it still has a lot of work to do. So here, one of the main objectives is, of course, have a place to gather all the information that is happening around the research, and the laboratory has this old explanation. Okay. And here you have also all the names of the participants in the laboratories, and you can visit every device here, and you can see the instructions that you have to follow if you decide to participate in the research. So first of all of the devices ask you to follow, to rellenar, to fill a form that telling us that you are agreeing to share us your information, because some of them maybe will contain some information that maybe sensible information. So you have to agree that the information is going to be with us, and we explain that we're going to be very careful with the information that we gather. So these are all the instructions that you have to do over 5 or 7 days. And at the end you have this section which is called viralization. This tells how you should pass your object to another person. So yes, this is a website. It's still on work. We are still have a lot of work to do here. But also, so it gathers information about the project. It has instructions about every device, and later, next year, it will be the archive of all the collected information that will happen when the viral devices have been used. Okay.
So, to be ending this presentation, we're going to explain our future expectations also, because in the future we would like to take care of all these data collection recollected by these experiments, by these different people, I hope over the world, but I don't know the extension. We would like to be able to represent each of the experiences in a kind of atlas or repository, open to anyone. And also we would like to create an exhibition with the processes and the physical traces conformed by this project. We would like to think about the archive in a queer way. This means non-categorized, but activated and performed each time differently, depending on the person who is activating it. As Wendy Duff and Bernard Harris proposed to escape from this idea of archive that reinforces dominant values, and you can question how are you going to do that? Well, we want to give more space and importance to the narration of the archive than to the elements that the archive itself will contain. We think that generating our own narratives could be the path to break the traditional idea of the archive and to be able to open new and unexpected traces in that atlas or repository, something that is still a collection of things. Aligned with the postmodern archivistic practice, the social subjective meta-narratives have a direct influence in each archive, and therefore the archiver as a person has a central role in the archivistic practice and in the archive performance. So what would happen if we observe the performance of our archive, of this data of each situation with the viral devices, through the eyes of each one of these 10 subjects that conform our practical experiential research group, or more people interested to join us there? This new and diverse meta-narrative could conform maybe an hetero reading of experiences and situations. And also we would like to write a research paper about that. So as seen and as experienced during the pandemic lockdown hardest moment, each of us has had a different sensation, a different interpretation of the good and of the bad issues, and therefore we expect to have multiple readings and approaches which hopefully we will be able to trace a complex reflection of the problematic relation between medium, body, space, and the post-pandemic environment.
Okay, so just to go again to the calendar, we are in this part of the open and collaborative research activation. We are going to make this in October, so the next steps will be organize, analyze, create the atlas, the exhibition and the research paper. And some small thoughts, of course, is we have to work a lot about all of what is happening, and this will be bigger as when the project ends. But we understand that identifying unique transformation of the online-offline body space assembly, this is very impossible to do. So we conclude that our methodology is very helpful. The archive that we're generating, or that will be generated, will be the result of the use of the various devices holding a situating a specific footprint. No? It will be made by specific people. Testing the prototypes, for example, also allowed the group to identify possible barriers and problems that would probably happen during the activation. For example, with the computer device that we tested, at the beginning we proposed to use a computer device, for example, for 7 days. And ourselves found out that this was going to be almost impossible to ask for other people to do. So all the tests have been allowing us to understand how to modify the instructions and decide whether we want to put this extreme tension with the devices or not. And of course, the methodology we are very insistentes con esto, which is we confirm, or we like to work with this distributed responsibility of the authorship that of the devices that we're creating. All of what is going to happen is because of the 10 people that are participating in this laboratory. And if you want to test the devices, if you want to test the Confunda or the camera work of one of the 5 devices, here is the mail of the project, and you can write to us and test one project. Thank you very much, and thank you for the invitation. Thanks.
Pues me lanzo yo. I think, well, más o menos todos hablamos. Bueno, muchas gracias. Hay muchas preguntas que me ocurren. De entrada creo que estáis como tocando las profundidades de la teoría del mundo. Gracias.
Creo que se está tocando un poco la teoría de la interfaz, creo que estáis como dándole muchas vueltas, ¿no?, sobre los procesos de interfaz. Me interesa mucho. Había tres cositas, no son preguntas, en todo caso, es como si queréis un poco estirarlas, ¿no? Creo que tiene mucho que ver también con la idea del ruido y con la idea del contexto. Es decir, la mayoría de la interfaz, a veces precisamente lo comentábamos ayer, es desplazar el ruido, ¿no?, para ver solamente esas capas que se supone que son necesarias. Y luego, pues, su trabajo precisamente lo que busca es revelar ese ruido, ¿no?, revelar esas condiciones sensibles, ¿no?, que se producen cuando hablamos de esas relaciones, ¿no?, entre los cuerpos, que ya son reales. No sé si va por ahí la cosa o me estoy yendo de la pelota ahora. Pero me parece que eso es una cosa importante, también tiene que ver con el contexto, con el hecho de que las interfaces tienen que ser usables, tienen que ser prácticas, tienen que ser utilitarios, tienen que responder a las funciones. Muchas veces los contextos precisamente desaparecen. Y eso me lleva a una tercera cuestión, que está todo vinculado. ¿No? Tengo la sensación de que estáis intentando darle la vuelta a la forma que, por ejemplo, nuestras actividades humanas, sociales, son minadas, en el sentido de minería, por las tecnologías digitales, ¿no?, vosotros de alguna manera hacéis lo mismo, pero queréis como cambiar la función, cambiar el uso de eso. Muy bien, caminando por ahí la cosa.
Bueno, gracias. Bueno, lo del ruido, yo creo que sí está como súper presente, especialmente cuando en el grupo salió el tema del glitch, el error y el límite, ¿no? Como qué cosas quedan invisibles, qué cosas no estamos viendo, o qué cosas nos están discutiendo tal vez de esta transformación. Y bueno, es igualmente complejo. En este caso nos lo llevamos como centrando en eso, ¿no? Tomamos una decisión también en algún momento que era como, bueno, ¿qué atendemos de esta conectividad? Porque hay unas conectividades de todo tipo, ¿no? ¿Qué atendemos? Pues por ejemplo la videollamada puede ser algo que nos simple, ¿no? Y ahí empezamos a hablar de aquello que no se ve, aquello que estamos escondiendo porque puede decir muchas cosas de eso que pensamos que es ruido, o que podría ser algo que no deberías compartir, porque no se puede, ¿qué está pasando ahí, no? Lo de la funcionalidad de los objetos, acordamos que más que darle como importancia al objeto mismo, era como darle importancia a la experiencia que generara, ¿no? Como has visto, todos los objetos son súper low tech, ¿no? Y vamos a ver también qué tanto aguantan cuando se viralicen. Pero justamente lo que interesa es, más allá de utilizar el objeto, ver qué tensiona, ¿no? qué experiencia va a pasar ahí.
Pues sobre lo del ruido, sí que uno de los conceptos que nos interesaba y que tal vez el ruido es como lo que se intenta suprimir, ¿no? En todas estas conexiones online que ya están como revisadas o procesadas para que le des a un send, ¿no? Y se envíe tu mensaje ya acabadito, o incluso en las videollamadas cada vez se tiende más a un uso de cámaras en las que no se genera ruido o un ancho de banda, etc. Y lo que nos gustaba mucho era el concepto de la sombra de Remedios Zafra que ya habíamos comentado en el inicio del proyecto, ¿no? Ella se pregunta dónde queda esta sombra que antes los individuos teníamos en nuestra casa como un lugar más privado, ¿no? y más propio, y donde aparecían todos estos posibles fantasmas y diamantes que decían, ¿no? Lo bueno. Y ahora tal vez como que en esta ausencia de ruido parece que ya no existe tampoco esta posible sombra del ser, ¿no? Y este error tal vez ya no es el error sino la manifestación de una persona detrás, ¿no? De que tenemos unos errores humanos, unos límites, y eso cuando el boli del garage se queda un rato parado, pues una mancha es lo que aparece. O cuando no usas bien uno de los dispositivos, te estás mermando tu propia vida y te estás dando cuenta. Pues sí que igual ahí hay como... Y viene con la otra cuestión de la desestabilización, ¿no? Así que es como un poco subvertir el uso para tener un poco más de atención sobre eso. O sea que, aunque no lo quieras, estás prestando más atención a lo que vas a estar haciendo durante ese rato, y esa transparencia del medio para la que se supone que están hechos, pues se borra totalmente, al menos para la experiencia de quien la tiene, ¿no? Y confiamos que tal vez luego pues, el deshacer la transparencia del medio para la que se supone que fueron diseñadas, tal vez luego nos abre posibilidades de pensamiento a las personas que hayamos activado estos dispositivos, porque luego en cada una pues, hay una serie de preguntas que hay que responder después de haberlas activado, ¿no? Como que algunas comparan el uso que tú hacías antes del dispositivo con el que después has tenido después de hacer este tipo de ejercicio, o cómo ha evolucionado todo, qué diferencias has visto, y por supuesto pues seguramente habrá algunas diferencias solo por el hecho de haber usado un dispositivo bastante simple, pero ya te propone otra experiencia y una mirada crítica ante la propia experiencia.
Y también del ruido me acuerdo de una vez hablándolo con Georgia, y ella decía como que me gusta pensar en el glitch, más bien, como una grieta que te permite ver como realmente como la estructura, o sea, qué es lo que no estaba funcionando aquí, ¿no? Y también es como parte de la propuesta.
Bueno, chicas, antes de todo, gracias por la propuesta, que realmente me parece muy fascinante. Realmente, más como tiene esta ventana de proyección muy buena. un par de cositas también, un poco retomando lo que decía Jorge, sobre no solamente esta vez, sino lo que he ido diciendo en estos días, ¿no? También esta como retórica, esta narrativa de la urgencia, de la cronopolítica del virus. Vosotros lo que hacéis es como superar esta capa, ¿no? Dejar esta capa de lado y buscar lo que, digamos, la pandemia ha permitido magnificar lo que estaba ya ahí y que se magnifica justamente debido a un fenómeno de emergencia. Y eso me parece muy guay porque nos remite a otra temporalidad que tiene que ver justamente con esta temporalidad. Lo que decías tú, la última cosa que decías que me parece muy interesante es justamente lo que iba a añadir. Porque esta idea de la grieta, del glitch que permite como hacer esta operación de unfolding, ¿no? Como de underboxing, ¿no? De descaracterizar, ha sido ya utilizada en la teoría del diseño, retomando justamente la idea de AELE, del Zuhandel, del Vorhandelheit, que es muy guay porque justamente dice Heidegger, es como aplicando los teóricos del diseño, aplicando la teoría de Heidegger, dice, es como el mouse, el ratón se invisibiliza cuando está en el uso, o sea, ya no te das cuenta que está.
Se hace transparente.
Es transparente, se hace transparente, justamente, es como, digamos, se pierde en esta sensibilidad cotidiana, ¿no? En esta esfera de la experiencia sensible cotidiana. Y emerge cuando se rompe, emerge su calidad de cosa, ¿no? Y creo que os puedo pasar también un par de textos que pueden ir bien en esta dirección, simplemente como para reforzar aún más esta idea que ya tenéis muy clara. Otra cosa también es, bueno, claramente os ponéis en la dirección de toda esta esfera de los objetos sonda, del diseño especulativo. Hay este diseñador finlandés, teórico de diseño finlandés, que es Mäkelmäki, que ha escrito mucho sobre el design process y que creo que puede también ser una referencia que os puede utilizar para construir un framework teórico incluso más rico del que ya es, que me parece realmente fascinante. O sea que felicidades por esto y creo que eso tiene mucho, ¿no? Mucho recorrido por hacer.
Gracias.
Sí, estaba pensando también, perdón, si vas a responder. Perdón.
No, bueno, solo que del inicio de que ya no es la urgencia, igual volver a dejar clara esta intención más artística, que igual se va a lo poético y a un terreno que, si bien tiene unos costes por el contexto, también tenemos ganas de expandir por esas posibilidades de temporalidad o lo que venga.
Sí, respecto a esto que comentaba Ramón, pues me acuerdo, os habéis visto el trabajo que se hizo en Actuar sobre interface manifiesto, ¿no? Eso, ahí tenéis también mucho de lo que comentaba Ramón, de esa invisibilidad, de lo que Raúl Solari habla de la transparencia de los medios, que parece que no están allí, que no nos convocan a nada, pero están allí y hacen algo. Y yo creo que también en este sentido es interesante la relación que se produce con el virus, con la idea misma de viralidad. A ver, un virus no existe solo. Un virus tiene que tener un portador, un carrier, ¿no? Si no tiene un carrier, el virus un medio. Pero claro, ese medio lo que hace también transforma el propio virus, que es como un parásito, se ha metido allí y tal, ¿no? Y entiendo de alguna manera que vosotros estáis haciendo ese trabajo un poco también de convertir a ese medio en un objeto indócil. Y lo digo indócil en el sentido que tú comentabas del diseñador finlandés, ¿no? Ya sabéis ese cuerpo dócil que decía Foucault y cómo podemos hacerlo indócil, ¿no? Que sea difícil de identificar.
Recalcitrante, ¿no? Perdón, recalcitrante, ¿no? Que
resiste, ¿no? Y que no resiste por resistir, sino que simplemente tiene unas taxonomías diferentes, ¿no? Que no pueden ser miradas de la misma manera. Me da la sensación de que eso me ha gustado mucho, de que el cuerpo, tal como lo estáis trabajando, quiere ser indócil y al mismo tiempo revelar las condiciones por las cuales el virus que lleva, y el virus no en el sentido del virus del COVID, sino en el sentido del virus del sistema, de cómo llevamos, cómo el sistema nos adopta para llevarnos unos virus, ya sabemos cuáles son, muy claramente, ¿no? Sexuales, laborales, de capital, de género, de micros. No sé, nada de la sensación esa y solamente que un poco siguiendo lo que comentaba.
Sí, y ojalá el medio transforme, como decían, ¿no? Porque porque tal vez usándola confunda. Es que de verdad es muy pesado usarla. Habíamos dicho usarla una semana seguida y no hemos podido ninguna en esta primera fase del testeo.
Se revela, ¿no?
La vida te pone. Pero ojalá al intentar usarla te hagas consciente de la dependencia que tienes de algún objeto que sí que ya es como una extensión de tu mano, ¿no? Pero porque no puedes llevar esa loza pues, a una boda, por ejemplo, o llevártela en el tren de rodalías, ¿no? Pero porque cuesta tanto unos centímetros más y un poco más de peso y porque no es tan fácil, ¿no? Acceder al smartphone.
De eso que estaba pensando, aquí no puedes regalar, o sea, tú le regalas esa plataforma de móvil a alguien y te diría mierda, ¿no? Pero justamente es esa indocilidad, ¿no? No es un regalo, digamos, que te fuerza realmente a considerarlo de una manera parcialmente diversa.
Pero me parece muy guay el tema de que, simplemente, me parece muy guay que de alguna forma haya salido eso de estas jornadas también. Nosotros creo que no estabais cuando Mateo y Luca ayer por la mañana hicieron su presentación, que realmente tiene que ver con muchas otras cosas, como el medio museo y el medio fotografía, ¿no? Pero como la pandemia como ocasión para reflexionar sobre las especificidades de un medio, de varios medios en este caso, su performatividad, su capacidad de hacer cosas, su agencia, lo que te permite, sus affordances, lo que te permite, lo que no te permite hacer. O sea, todo eso es como... Es muy guay, casi como un terreno de profundización material, ¿no? Dentro y que tiene mucho que ver con esta indocibilidad.
¿Y la exposición cómo será? ¿Y dónde será?
En proceso. También porque queremos que sea, o sea, la intención es que se piense también con el grupo, o sea, como ahora que veamos, que se active, ver que, o sea, ese análisis conjunto, o sea, lo queremos hacer así, pues conjunto y ver cómo, qué maneras, cómo lo podemos hacer, pero en colaboración con el grupo. En un principio teníamos pensado en el GREDITS, ahora mismo tenemos que replantear esto, pero no hay qué pasa. Y bueno, la idea es que sea una jornada, esto sí lo tenemos un pequeño comercial. Bueno, pensaremos cuál es el formato de la exposición, evidentemente será online, offline, porque está el archivo aquí, pero nuestra intención también es que sea como una pequeña jornada para exponer, o sea, la investigación e incluso invitar a algún artista que trabaje con este tipo de cuestionamientos también un poco a nivel de seguir la conversación con otras personas. Esto lo estamos todavía como maquinando ahora.
Es que bueno, tenemos una idea de que a lo mejor podríamos hacerlo. Ya lo veríamos, eso lo veríamos. Además entiendo que es el 23, ¿no? Que sería como acabar el programa entero con eso. Pero eso hay que convencer a una serie de personas. Pero bueno, no creo que sea ¿verdad? Y además en Roma hay una tradición también de eso y podríamos dialogar. Estoy inventando ahora todo esto, pero ahí está. Y una pregunta última, ¿no tenéis un poco de miedo de que la exposición pueda convertirse en una especie de vamos con la familia a probar cacharros?
Pues no lo sé.
No lo digo. No, me refiero a lo mejor quizás, no sé, perdonad que me meta donde no me llaman, pero que sería interesante también pensar el hecho de que a lo mejor podáis ceder esos instrumentos, ¿no? Una semana, no sé, o sea, y precisamente que la experiencia de estos usuarios sea la exposición, ¿no?
Sí, eso
es para
sí, perdón, porque no lo hemos dicho, pero es la exposición de las repositorios, no archivo. Es una manera también de ser activado de otra forma, que no es agarrando una selección, sino exponiendo todos los discursos posibles. Que al final son pequeñas experiencias y pues no sabemos si luego van a haber también rastros de estas metanarrativas o que tú puedas elaborar alguna, pero sería bastante interesante también porque, claro, siempre hemos tenido como el cerebro dividido en dos partes, ¿no? Como en toda esta bibliografía que nos interesaba, que fue la que empezamos a trabajar al inicio, y en toda esta parte práctica que nos apasiona y es la que nos da vida, ¿no? Al final. Entonces, todo el rato el conflicto de cómo cómo interrelacionarlas, ¿no? Y una de las ideas era precisamente esto, el poder activar casi como si fuera un juego, ¿no? De agarrar dos términos de aquí y agarrar dos experiencias de aquí y tienes que escribir un marco de una experiencia, ¿no? Y esto, que es para mí muy lúdico y bastante excitante, pues tal vez sea algo con lo que también jugar en esa exposición. Pero bueno, como decía Silali, sería interesante una creación colectiva también de comisariado, como research.
Sí, que la idea es que todo lo que no lo hemos explicado porque son muchos detallitos, pero la intención es que vamos a como homogeneizar el formato en el que se entrega cada dispositivo. Estamos trabajando un logotipo, una serie de documentos que cada objeto tendrá una pequeña tote bag con un packaging para cada objeto, o si no es objeto, una serie de instrucciones. Entonces la idea es que tú con esto físico, que el dispositivo sea digital, tú tengas como, me ha tocado el tote bag, me ha tocado una semana de esto y tengo la responsabilidad. Diseñamos con Georgia una carta en la que tienes que apuntar cada día, es como para mantener esa responsabilidad, porque también nos dábamos cuenta que igual se te olvida, igual no te lo tomas tan en serio. Entonces hay una carta en la que tienes que dejar un registro diario de lo que pasó, incluso si no tuviste nada, que no sucedió nada ese día, no te conectaste, también se queda el silencio registrado, ¿no? Y entonces, por ejemplo, el gararrate concreto viene con una carpeta en donde ya vendrán unas fichas, además del registro diario, el papel en el que tienes que poner el retorno diario. Entonces todo eso regresará a nosotros en algún momento. No hemos visto, esto también lo tendremos que ver mientras se van activando, en qué momento el gararrate se rompe y tenemos que buscar a la persona que a lo mejor ya no está en Barcelona, está en el evento en Galicia, pues tenemos que ver cómo buscar ese gararrate, repararlo, o bueno, eso todavía va a ir sucediendo, ¿no? Pero la idea es homogeneizar esa entrega, que lo estamos haciendo ahora. Entonces en octubre la intención es tener ya el logotipo, las tomas, todo listo, y ya va a estar donde llega. Y eso sí, o sea, por eso pusimos como una de las restricciones importantes de cada dispositivo, que el rastreo de esas huellas sea posible, o sea, que no suceda y que no nos enteremos qué pasó, ¿no? Entonces, bueno, ahí está. Y luego era muy bonito como un diálogo sobre la agencia de los objetos, ¿no? Pues a mí me hace pensar mucho en cómo habla Butler de la materialización de los cuerpos, ¿no? Entonces, cómo los cuerpos se materializan a partir de los hábitos, actividades, uso, y en este caso uso de objetos, ¿no? Los objetos performan también y hacen parte de la materialización de los cuerpos. Entonces también es un poco poner intención y hacer ese awareness, ¿no? Tienes una subjetividad en tu vida y estás, lo ponemos en tensión, te pregunto por qué, ¿no? ¿Cómo utilizas esto de manera tan cotidiana y te hacemos esta turbulencia para ver qué preguntas le lleva a cada persona? Y ya está.
Sí. A ver cómo nos construye todo esto.
Muchas gracias.